Hey, 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 gorgeous people. Welcome to my channel, Being a Carer with Kes. This video was meant to have been aired on the 15th of January, last week, Sunday, but we had issues with network. Okay, so let's get to what we're supposed to have talked about, properly on the 15th of January. Now, every job has its pros and its cons. So what are the pros and the cons of support work? Have you ever thought about it? And if you haven't, you want to watch this video with me to the very end. My name is Kesiana Akwara Atie, a health and social care trainer. To all you old and new returning subscribers, you guys are amazing. Oh, and by the way, Happy New Year once again. Yeah. Now, if you just watching this channel for the first time, hello, what are you waiting for? Join the family. Smash that subscribe button. Yeah. Give me a thumbs up, like the video, and don't forget to click on that all important notification bell. So whenever I upload a new video, you'll be among the very first to know. Okay? Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Care by Cass. And I'll see you there. All right? So let's get into what we will be talking about today. Now, I know in the live stream, we'll talk about the pros and cons of being a healthcare assistant and a support worker. But I know you guys don't like lengthy videos. I don't like making lengthy videos as well. So I'm going to break this into two. So today we're going to talk about, the pros and cons of being a support worker. So which would you like to hear first? The pros or the cons? Okay, let's go with the cons. Bad news first. Now, a lot of people say to me that they're not regarded, because they're support workers. And I'm like, but why? And they say to me, oh, because they don't give specialized care. And I'm like, how specialized can care be? Because as a support worker, you are even more at risk, from your service users or your key persons. Because as a support worker, you work with people who have learning disabilities, like autism, Down syndrome. Sometimes you work with people who have, mental illnesses. So what do you mean by specialized care? But having said that, that's what it is. Okay? Now, another con is that you could be hurt. I don't mean to alarm you in any way, shape, or form, but that is the truth. You could be hurt by the key person you're looking after, or by the service users in the home you're working. Okay? You could be hurt. Now, that you're being hurt comes from one thing, and I say this all the time. A lot of support workers think that they are above the key person or the service user. But the truth is, you are not. You are rather, underneath them. Why do I say that? Because they are your employers. Without them in the system, or without them needing us, we will not have any jobs, if that makes any sense. So when you give them that attitude that you are the one in charge, they're the ones to obey you and all of that, they will react. And that reaction will cause injuries to you. And so if you are injured by any of them because you're trying to be forceful, dominating, and all of that, there will be no compensation. Yes, you heard me right. No compensation at all. Now, as a support worker, particularly when you're working with people who have mental illnesses and have some serious challenging behaviors, you will be taught what they call the MAPA training. How to restrain them when they're very active. More like de-escalate the situation. Now, so as well, if you have been trained in that regard, there are some things you cannot do. You cannot hurt them, trying to restrain them. You can't. Because the police might just come calling. Okay? Now, that is another con. All right? Now, another con is that you might have a very good relationship with your key person or service user. Because every support worker rather, they have a key person. Okay? And then you are the key worker for that person. All right. Now, it could happen that your key person or service user likes you a lot. And like I said, they will like you when you like them. That is their reply to your loving them, because some of them are non-verbal. Okay. Now, when they like you, automatically it means that whenever you are around, they are always of good behavior because they know that you like them. Now, you'll be asking me, how do they know that you like them when they have autism, they can't speak, or they have Down syndrome or something? That's another story for another day. And I will upload the video of that, which I will title Having Capacity in the Lack of It. So watch out for that video. So yes, they would know that you like them and they will like you in return. And sometimes when you're not around, they tend to act up. Now, I've had a few carers tell me, oh, there's a particular person, their key person rather, who, so attached to them. Whenever they are not around, the key person goes acting up, really throwing a big tantrum. And they have to call them on the phone to say, oh, your key person is acting up. Could you please say a word to him or her to calm them down? And that works like magic. You'll be surprised. And when they were telling me this stories, I was like, wow. I had to tell them, thumbs up to you. You are doing a brilliant job. Okay? But yes, but the truth is, come on. You can't work 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. You have to have your rest. So what are the pros of being a support worker? Happy to tell you that. Okay? Now, one is that a lot of support workers get paid very good money. Yes, they do get very paid good money. Now, I had a few carers, my colleagues, who came and said, I was asking, how much do you earn? I don't mean to be rude or to be intrusive, but just, to have an idea. And this lady said, she earns about 27 grand. That was last year per annum. And that is minus extra shifts. Now, as a support worker, some of us work 3 days a week. Some work 4 days a week. Maybe 3 long days, 1 short day. And you have the rest of the time free. Okay? So if you decide, oh, I want to do some extra, you take some extra shifts. So if you add those extra to that 27,000, that is so much more. And so in some support work, it depends on the group you're working with. I know of a few who, they give their staff allocation for the month. I think about 2 grand or so to buy what they need. So, hey, come on. And they go and cook whatever they like. So why would you want to work in a place like that? Yeah? Now, another pro is that you get to go on paid holidays. You heard me right. Yes. You get to go on paid holidays. Because, as the key workers, for these key people we work with, like the service users, they go everywhere. The government takes very good care of them. They travel within the UK, outside the UK. And if you are going with them, you get paid. Your ticket is paid for. Accommodation is paid for. Feeding is paid for. And you are paid again 24-hour shift because you are there all the time. There's no off or on time for you. If that makes any sense. So you get paid all that money. So yes, another pro for being in the support work. Okay. Now another pro of being a support worker is that you can be working with people who are very able. And I mean very able. They can do their dishes themselves. They can give themselves a bath. They don't need to prompt them or wash their hair. They can cook their food themselves. They can do their chores in the house themselves. They don't need any supervision. Some of them, I had the privilege of working with one. Some of them can fill in their logbooks themselves. Some can call the HMRC themselves. You get what I mean? So you are there sitting down and wondering, what am I going to do? I tell you an experience. One time I went to work somewhere and there was this guy I was supposed to support for the whole day. It was a long shift. I think about 12, 14-hour shifts. And then I was like, okay, so what do I do? And I was told by the manager, just sit down. He will come downstairs when he's ready. I said, okay. So I sat, he came down and said, okay, come on, let's go. So I was wondering. So the manager says to me, oh yes, he can go out by himself and all of that. But just know this. If he wants to go into the gents, you must stand by the door. So I'm like, okay, why? I'm a lady, he's a guy. And he says, oh, if he comes out of the gents and doesn't see who he came with, he will just start wondering. I'm like, okay. So we went out, he was talking, I was answering, he knew how to buy the train tickets. I had to do nothing. He bought the train tickets. He told us what train we're going to board. He told me what time it was going to come. I'm like, whoa, you know all this information? He said, yes, he does this every day. I said, wow, awesome. He told me what stop ours was. We got off. And he told me which way to walk to the supermarket, who we're going. Oh, happy to oblige. And we did go. Okay. And then he said to me, he wanted to use the gents. Oh, and I remembered what the manager said. So when he went to use the gents, I told him, oh, I'll be right here by the door when you come out. So he came out, he saw me, we went in. We did every the shopping we needed to do. We went home. He had his receipts with him. He didn't need to do anything. I was just a companion for that day. We got to the house. He unpacked his stuff. He said, oh, no, 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 don't come with me. I can do it myself. Okay. And when they tell you that, leave them alone. Because they like their independence. He did everything. He made himself a sandwich, took it to his room, and he came to me, do you want something? I said, no. And he was in his room all day. And the lady I was working, because there were just two of them in the house, I was like, is this how it is? And she said, oh, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm bored now. What's next to be done? Yeah. So in some support work, you get to change pads. You might have to hoist, you know, and then you might have to deal with those who have epilepsy and therefore they have seizures. So you have that as well, but they're not as many, if you get what I mean. Okay. Now, as a support worker, you have more job opportunities. You can grow quicker as a support worker, particularly when you have the genuine interest of the service users at heart. And you have a supportive manager who appreciates your work ethics, who likes the fact that you don't mind putting your back into the work. You can rise within a short space of time to becoming a manager of a home or a regional manager, particularly if the support group you work with have, you know, numerous homes everywhere. I know of a friend who, I think about, say 3 years ago, she's been here in this country as a support worker. She came in and, you know, got a job as a support worker. And within 3 years, she has risen from being a support worker to being a deputy manager. And now is a manager as I speak. She became a manager last year. So she as about 2 years plus, she's now a manager in support work. So yes, diligence pays. Conscientiousness pays, consistently pays, dedication pays when you are a support worker or any job at all that you do and you have a supportive manager who is not threatened by your work ethics, but rather is happy that there's somebody who loves the job just as they do and is dedicated to the service users. Okay? Now, another pro of being a support worker is this, that you get to grow. You know, and by this growth, I mean you work with different service users every day, and thus your growth, you know, your knowledge is increased, if that makes sense. So if I see my next video, always remember this, never you forget, yeah, that no matter what the matter is, you, my darlings, you matter so much more. Au revoir.